Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursaleen. Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Tasliman kathiran kathira. My brothers and sisters, amma ba'du. Today we are on the fourth key of the 7 keys to success. And that is what I call managing life. Let me ask you to think about this. Are you a good time manager? Do you think you are a good time manager? And if the answer is yes, then I'm going to ask you another question, which is, give me 1 hour extra today, 1 hour more. Can you do that? Obviously you can't, because the day has 24 hours. Nobody can give 1 hour more and nobody can take away 1 hour from it or any fraction of that. When we say, give me 1 hour more, or if you say I can give you 1 hour more, what are you actually saying? You are actually saying that I can show you a way of rearranging your schedule, rearranging what you normally do in such a way that you will have an extra free hour today. Now, number of hours is the same, 24, but out of that 24, I can show you how you can free up 1 hour. This is possible. So effectively, what are you managing? You're managing your schedule. You're managing your life. And that's why I say to people, you can't manage time because you try to manage time. Nobody can manage time. Time is a factor of the revolution of the earth. So we can't control that, so we cannot manage time. So stop trying to manage time. Manage yourself. Think about, how can I manage myself? How can I schedule my day? How can I focus on meaningful things? And how can I stay away from useless and meaningless things? To begin, therefore, if you want to focus, what do you need to have? You need to have a focus point, right? I cannot focus if I don't know what to focus on. What do you want me to focus on? Unless I have a focus point, I cannot focus. And therefore, let me try to give you that. You can use any method you like, but one way I do it, and I am asking you to do that. Think of a magazine cover, the cover page of a magazine. Think of a particular magazine and think of the cover page of that magazine on which is your picture. Now, what caption would you like to see under that picture? What caption do you want to see under that picture? Hopefully not wanted, dead or alive, right? What is the caption you want to see under that picture? Because that caption will tell you what you contributed in your life. So the question to ask is, what difference do I want to make? What difference do I want to make? And with this in mind, I want you to write. Just imagine this magazine cover, you're looking at it, the caption there, and as you read the caption, your whole life is playing in your mind and you're watching this tape, this film of your entire life. Now, based on that, write down your life goal. Because if one day you want to see that picture, and don't take it too literally and say, oh, I would like to work quietly and I'm not interested in publicity. No, this is only an exercise to help you to focus. So if you want to achieve those things, you have to start now. No matter when that now is, whether you are 15 years old or you're 50 years old, makes no difference. Because today is the first day of the rest of my life, as the saying goes. Today is the first day of the rest of my life. So every one of us are equal. We are all on day one. Day one of the rest of my life. How much is that life? How many more years do I have left? None of us knows. So we are equal. We are absolutely equal. The key is to see, because remember, it's not only the number of days, it's what you do in those days. How can I maximize my productivity? How can I maximize my motivation? I want you to watch this video now, which you will see. This was taken in Ranthambore, in the famous lake. And you see this young sambar stag who is feeding in the water, and suddenly he sees that tiger and he takes off. It's a wonderful film to show the effect of differential motivation. So watch this film. And after you watch the film, ask yourself, your motivation towards your life goal, is it like that of the tiger? Or is it like that of the sambar stag? Because the result will depend on the level of your motivation. Or maybe your motivation is like that of the spectators who are only watching the scene. They are not even involved. The tiger is hungry, but the sambar stag is trying to save his life. So the level of motivation is obviously far higher. So I want you to write down your life goal. Now when you write this life goal, remember, we are not asking you to write a book. We are asking you to write a life goal. And that life goal must be in one line. And it's not one line like this, just one line. So it may be 7, 8 words, 9 words. You are expressing what you want to achieve in life. And at the risk of repetition, I told you before, it doesn't matter how old you are. It does not matter. Because today is the first day of the rest of my life. And whoever is standing with me shoulder to shoulder, whether it's a 20-year-old or a 5-year-old or a 10-year-old or a 100-year-old, none of us know how much longer we have in this world. So we are all equal. It depends on what we set out to do. Now, when you are writing this one line, just keep this in mind. What I call my 5 characteristics of a life goal. Number 1, it must be large enough to scare you. Large enough to scare you. Number 2, not so large that you don't even try. So it's a balance. It's a stretch goal, not a break goal. It is large enough to scare you, but not so large that it will demotivate you. Number 3, it must be something which is worthy of your time and your life. A life goal is not something you do on a weekend. A life goal is not something you do part-time. A life goal is what you do continuously, constantly, full-time, every waking moment, and when you are sleeping, you dream about that. That's called a life goal. It's so real that you taste it in your mouth. You feel butterflies in your stomach. It brings tears to your eyes. Because I always tell people, what can't make you cry, can't make you work. So third one, must seem worthy of your time and life. And number 4, the reward of it must be real and totally clear to you. The reward must be real and totally clear. The reward is not necessarily in terms of money. As a matter of fact, money is a pretty poor motivator in my scheme of things and my understanding and my experience in life. People put out their best effort. They really work their hearts out for things which have nothing to do with money. So, reward must be real. And number 5, always remember, it needs to inspire only you. So don't worry about sometimes people say, oh, but I told my friend about my life goal and my friend thinks it's a waste of time. It's not your friend's life goal, it is your life goal. And one understanding is don't tell the whole world about it. It's your life goal, stick with it, stay with it. And inshallah, Allah will make you do what is required to make it come true. Then do an exercise. Now that you have your life goal, keep that in your home, write it out, print it out, paint it, whatnot, big, stick it in a place where you can see it all day. In your home, your workplace, wherever, stick it where you can see it all day. Continuously reminding. If I wake you up 2 o'clock in the night and say, what's your life goal? You should be able to rattle it off, just like that. That's how real it should. That is how real it should be. Real in terms of your feeling it. Real in terms of your feeling that you can achieve it. It is achievable, not easy, achievable. Next, I want you to do an exercise. This whole session is full of hands-on exercises. I want you to create a time log. What's the time log? See the image on your screen. Draw this table, 2 columns, time, right in that time column, from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed, every half hour. And then in the next column, activity, which is what were you doing in that half hour. So starting, say, for example, 5:30 a.m., trying to wake up, 6 a.m., still trying to wake up, 6:30 a.m., still trying to wake up. Right? Whatever you were doing from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed, every half hour, and write the activity. What were you doing? Now, for this, I want you to take a regular, normal day of yours, a normal working day of yours, right? Not some particular day where you were in some structured activity or you went to a training course or something. No, a normal working day. Now, in that normal working day, don't put a bracket and say at work 9 to 5. No. 9 o'clock, what were you doing? 9:30, what were you doing? 10 o'clock, what were you doing? 10:30, what were you doing in your workplace? What were you actually doing? So take say the nearest day in the past, maybe yesterday was a regular working day. Think about yesterday. So effectively now you're thinking about something at most 24 hours later. Now what will happen is this. When you think about this, there will be points where you do not remember what you were doing. So you say, well, 9 o'clock, I entered my office and I, put on my stuff. So 9 to 9:30, maybe I picked up a cup of coffee from the coffee counter. I came and sat at my desk. Now 9:30 to 10, what was I doing? I don't recall. I know there was a meeting from 10:30 to 11:30. So 1 hour in that meeting, I was there. Now 11:30 to 12, I went out for half an hour. I came back 12 to 12:30. I had lunch and I prayed Dhuhr. 12:30 to 1, I can't recall what was I doing. So you will have this kind of stuff. So wherever you cannot recall what you were doing, leave it blank. Just leave it blank. Right? Don't write at work or something busy or no. Leave it blank. And at the end of this whole thing, you see how many of those activities were activities that contributed directly or indirectly to your life goal. Now remember, you are the best judge and you can only fool yourself. So if you have an activity in there which is making you feel uncomfortable, but you say, no, but this also contributes to my life goal in one way or the other somehow, it's up to you. You want to justify it. You don't need to justify it because you're talking to yourself. But make sure that you don't lie to yourself. Make sure that you don't try to fool yourself because you can only fool yourself. You can't fool anybody else. Out of that whole time log, from the time my eyes open to the time my eyes shut, how many hours did I spend in pursuit of my life goal? Then ask yourself, if that is the amount of time I'm spending on a daily basis in pursuit of my life goal, what is realistically speaking, what chance do I have of achieving that life goal? Do I have a good chance or do I have no chance at all? Next exercise, what I call my ET calculation. So do this calculation. Actual time. How much is actual time? 24 hours. Minus maintenance time. Now, maintenance time is all the time that is required for you to maintain your body. So, it would be from brushing your teeth to having a shower to time you spend in the toilet to getting dressed, right? Your eating time, your sleeping time. How many of you sleep 8 hours a day? How many of you sleep more than 8 hours a day? How many of you sleep less than 8 hours a day? Check all this, right? So is sleeping, eating, all of this. Commuting, if you are driving yourself to work, then check what you do while you are driving. Are you listening to something beneficial, useful, something related to your life goal, or are you just driving? What are you doing? And please don't get involved in too much of activity and have an accident. Drive safely. All of this would be maintenance time. So out of 24 hours, how many hours is this? So supposing you say, well, 8 hours of sleep, another say 2 hours totally in eating and your bathing and so on and so forth. So that's 10 hours, and then say another 2 hours of traveling time back and forth. So that's 12 hours. So you have 12 hours left. Now out of this, that's called available time. So actual time minus maintenance time is available time. Now this available time, let's look at it and say, how much of this do I spend in activities that are directly related to my life goal? And that is what I call my ET, effective time. Now your effectiveness, your personal effectiveness, is directly proportionate to maximizing your effective time. Not just time, effective time. So I want you to ask yourself, how much effective time do you think you have in life? As I told you, none of us knows how long we will live. But if you just want to do a hypothetical calculation and say, well, from say age 75 counting backwards, how much of effective time do I think I have, looking at this timetable and this calculation. Now, to maximize effective time, I'm going to give you 4 tools. First one is called the effort impact analysis, which is prioritization. Number 2 is called urgent versus important. Number 3 is called monkey management. And number 4 is called no. Now, how this will benefit you depends on how well you practice it. So let's look at the effort impact analysis. There is a principle called Pareto Principle, and this is based on a little story of this guy called Pareto who used to grow green peas in his garden. When he would shell the peas, he noticed that not all the pea pods had seeds. And must have been a remarkable kind of person, because imagine how he discovered and he created a principle which is used so widely all over the world. So what Pareto did was he calculated the number of seeds per pod, and he discovered that 20% of the pods gave him 80% of the seeds of green peas. 20% gave him 80%. And that is the principle which is called the Pareto's principle, which is that 20% effort gives you 80% results. Now, people have used this and tested this in multiple situations. In work situations, in inventory control, for example, in warehouses. They've used it in all sorts of situations. And they find that this thing holds true. 20% of our activity gives us 80% of our results. So now if you work on this 20% and we increase it to 30%, 40%, then imagine how our productivity would boom. But for that, you need to be able to think clearly and take good decisions. And that's why this chart which I'm showing you, which is called the effort impact analysis. Now, on the left corner top, you have high effort, low impact. Things, and by effort, I mean time, energy, money, everything together. So you want activities. Now look at your life. Go back to your time log. Look at your life and say, which activities in my life are taking up a lot of my time and the impact is very little or nothing. Top of that list will come social media. Lots of time goes in it, and result is what? For practically every single one of us, result is literally zero. So all the time spent on social media, posting stuff on Facebook, on Instagram, on this and that, and Snapchat and whatnot, result is zilch. So what must you do with that? Delete. Remove that from your life, because that is a net drain of the only non-renewable resource that you and I have, which is our life, which is time. We cannot renew it, we can't buy it anywhere, we cannot replace it. What's gone is gone forever. So high effort, meaning takes a lot of time, energy, focus, emotions get hooked into it, you get sad, glad, bad, mad, whatnot, because of some post or something. Remove it from your life. High effort, low impact. On the other side, you've got high effort, high impact. Those are the investment areas. This we must do, right? This we must do. Higher education, reading something useful, exercise, maintaining your body, spending time with your spouse, building your relationship, spending time with good friends, spending time with your parents, spending time with your children, participating in their schoolwork, participating in their activities, right? There's this wonderful story of this little boy who asked his father, "Dad, what's your hourly rate? What do you make?" So the father initially gets irritated, and he says, "It's $100, $100 an hour." Then the kid says, "Dad, can you loan me $50? So the father gets even more irritated. He says, "Oh, this kid is asking me this question because he wanted to ask me for some money." Then he says, "Okay, so let me give him." So he gives him $50. The kid takes the $50, goes away, comes back, and brings a little, what we call a piggy bank, a little box. He opens it, he spills it on the table, and he counts his crumpled notes and stuff he's got, adds the $50 he got from his dad, and gives it to him, and he says, "Dad, this is $100. Can you give me 1 hour of your time? Can you give me 1 hour of your time? I want you 1 hour without any disturbance, nothing. Just you and me. We sit, we talk, we do something, we eat." Whether this story is true or not, believe me, this is the situation with a lot of children. Maybe those kids didn't think of doing it this way. But imagine your children are probably saying this to you, or they want to say this to you. "Can I pay you for your time?" Because we live lives where we go and we earn money and we think that as long as we throw enough money at our children, that's sufficient. It is not sufficient. I've said this a million times, I'll say it a million times again. So investment. High effort but high impact. Then we go down, left bottom, low effort, low impact. Low effort, low impact. Now these are things which don't take much time. Some of this will be compliance activity. You got to fill a form, you got to take the garbage out, right? Those are stuff you can do. Some will be also activities which are really low impact for you, but for somebody else they might be more useful. So delegate, outsource, all that stuff. In this also I will say, trying to do everything yourself, don't do that. Delegate it, give it out. And the last one is low effort, high impact. Small effort, but big impact. Making a call to somebody, just saying, "Salam alaikum, how are you?" Just nothing. I don't have any gharaz. I'm not calling you for some reason. I'm just calling. I haven't heard from you for a long time. There's a very dear friend of mine, Sandeep Singh. One day he phoned me and he said, "Are you in Hyderabad?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Can I come to you for a weekend? Can I come to you for a couple of days?" I said, "Most welcome, please." He came. He came all the way. He lives in Delhi. From Delhi, he came all the way to Hyderabad. So he came. I picked him up from the airport. He came. We had dinner, went to sleep. Next morning, we had breakfast together. We were sitting and drinking some tea after breakfast. And I told him, Sandy, anything you need to do here, or Now, I'm wondering if the guy came from all the way from Delhi. So in my mind, obviously he's got some work in Hyderabad or something. So let me ask him, can I take him somewhere? He said, no, nothing. So I couldn't stop myself. I said, why did you come? He said, I haven't seen you. He said, it's been like several years. I haven't seen you. I just came to see you. I just came to meet you. Believe me, it brought tears to my eyes. I said, Subhanallah, this friend of mine, he takes all the trouble, time, money, expense, everything else to come all the way from Delhi to Hyderabad just to see me. That's it. No gharaz. He's not come for anything from me. He said, I haven't seen you for so long. Now imagine how little it takes to touch somebody's heart. One letter, one email, one phone call. There are many people who don't even call their parents. Today we live in a world where I know a time when if you wanted to make an international telephone call, you had to literally count the notes. Today it's free. We all have all kinds of chat programs. You've got all kinds of stuff. You got Zoom, you got Skype. It's video conferencing, which was such a big deal. You had to go to a video conferencing studio, which was air conditioned. And in India, they made you take your shoes off as if you're going into some place to pray or something. And then you sat there and this whole thing happened. Today, we do it on our phones, sitting in a car, driving. Question is, we have all this technology to communicate, but do we really communicate? How many of us and how many of you just called your parents to say salam? I'm not saying nobody does it, but I'm saying there are far too few who do it. How many of you just called a friend? Look, I haven't seen you for a long time. Just show me your face. I haven't heard your voice for a long time. I just want to talk to you, nothing else. No, I don't have any, motive. Small things, they go a long way. And the biggest and the most powerful of them is tahajjud. 2 rakat of salah in the night when everybody is sleeping. When Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam first came to Medina, Abdullah bin Salam, the Jewish rabbi of the Banu Nadir, who later accepted Islam, he went to see him. He went to literally look at him. And they asked him later, he said, when he went there, what was happening? He said, this was the Prophet of Allah, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and he was advising people. And they said, what was he advising them? He said he was telling them, spread salam, greet everybody, spread peace, right? Assalamu alaikum, may peace be upon you. Greet everybody. Number one. Number two, he said, feed people. Feed people. And he said, three, he said, stand in the night and worship when everybody is sleeping, and Allah will make your pathway to Jannah easy. How simple it is, and what a huge impact. Talk to Allah, man. Talk to Allah. 2 rakat of salah in the night. Stand before Allah. Cry. Put your head in sujood. Make dua. Ask Him for whatever you want, with the full knowledge that if He wants, He can give it. He has no boundaries, no constraints. Nobody can stop Him, and nobody can make Him. Nobody can stop Him from doing what He wants, and nobody can make Him do something which He doesn't want to do. So ask Him. Low effort, high impact. Right? Praying Salatul Isha in the masjid by Jama'ah and praying Salatul Fajr in the masjid by Jama'ah gives you the reward of a full night of worship. Believe me, if you and I even wanted to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the entire night, even to do it for one single night is probably impossible. To do it night after night is completely impossible. Yet we don't need to do all that. We can get all of that in just by this. Salatul Isha by Jama'ah and Salatul Fajr by Jama'ah. Khalas. Right? Effort impact analysis. Now, with this analysis, what I want you to do is take that time log of yours and map it onto this 4-blocker and see my activities, where do they fall in these 4 blocks. And then say to yourself, what is it I'm doing today that I should stop doing? What is it that I'm doing today that I should continue to do? What is it that I'm doing today that I'm not doing today, which I should start doing? So start, stop, continue. Then, number 3, I think, right? No, number 2. What I call the 3x3 rule. Now, this is a wonderful story behind this. It says that the chairman of US Steel, this was a guy who took over the company as the chairman, and after a while he decided he needed some help, so he called a friend of his who was a consultant and said to him, can you please come and run for me a time management workshop for my top team? The man said, I have no time to run a time management workshop, but I'll give you a tool. I'll give you a little pill, right? He said, try this tool, and if it works for you, then you can pay me whatever you think it is worth. And the story goes that they paid him $25,000. So now I'm going to tell you this tool, and I want you to reach for your checkbooks and start writing the check. $25,000. There is 2, 5 followed by 3 zeros, right? What's the rule? What's this thing that this man told him? He said, every day, begin your day by listing 3 activities for the day in order of priority. 3 activities for the day in order of priority. First, most important. Second, third. What do you use as your criterion of judgment of order of priority? Your life goal. So for my life goal, what is the most important? What is next? What is next? 3 activities for the day. So today I must accomplish these 3 things. Start on number 1, complete it, then only go to number 2. Don't go midway. If you get interrupted, come back and finish that activity and only then go to number 2. Finish number 2, go to number 3. If something is left over, next morning when you come and you make your list of 3 activities, which one will you put first? Wrong answer. No. Not what was left behind. Each day you make a new list based on that day's priority. Right? This prioritization is an absolutely critical thing. So if you do that, believe me, you will become hugely, hugely productive. 3, not more than 3. If you finish 3 activities, you still have time left, then you can take a 4th one. But every day begin with 3 activities and be very rigid about this. Write them down. Write them down so that they are absolutely clear in your mind, and then you go to the next one and the next one. All right? Then the next tool, the urgent and important matrix. Think about your life. That time log is a beautiful piece of data for yourself. Think about your life and say, on this matrix, urgent and important. Left top corner is very urgent, not important, or you don't know if it's important or not. For example, your phone rings. For example, your alerts, your WhatsApp alert goes off. Beep, beep. What is our instantaneous activity? Even if we do not pick up that phone, even if we do not pick up the phone to check the message, you will look at it. So your attention is diverted. I was doing something here, my attention got diverted. I almost got killed once. I was driving, a friend of mine was driving me. I was sitting next to him, and we were going from Dammam, from the airport to the city. And those of you who know that airport and know the city, you know how long it is. It's a very long drive. Now this friend of mine, his phone was, he was driving a Toyota Camry. His phone was in the tray between the two seats. There's a tray there where the gear shift is, and this phone was there. We came to an intersection where he should have stopped, and at that time the phone rang. Now, he did not answer the call, he didn't pick up the phone, but he just looked at it. As he looked at it, he forgot to stop, and he drifted into the intersection. Now, I looked suddenly, because as he drifted into the intersection, I heard literally this scream of locked tires. And I looked to my right, and there was a Land Cruiser coming straight like this. That Land Cruiser guy was easily doing 140 to 160. Easily. Now, it was a Filipino guy. His face is etched into my mind. He literally stood on the brakes. The car, the Land Cruiser, the tires locked, and they were smoking. Right? Rubber was burning. But there's no way you're going to stop that car. It's a couple of tons in weight, and it's traveling at 150 or 140, 160. There was a look of absolute horror on his face. He was holding this steering wheel like that, eyes open, mouth open. Now, alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had not kept my ending there, otherwise I wouldn't be talking to you. This friend of mine, he literally floored, he just stamped on the accelerator. And alhamdulillah, the car didn't flood, the carb didn't flood. The Camry just jumped, just literally leapt out into this. It was halfway into the intersection. It just leapt and went across the intersection, and the Land Cruiser went, and the Camry shook. That is how close it was. And what happened? Why did it happen? Because his attention got diverted. He looked at the phone. Urgent and perhaps not important. This is how powerful this diversion of attention can be. So look at the activities in your life which are urgent, in your face right now, but it may not even be important. What's your plan to deal with them? So urgent, not important. On the other side, urgent and important. What is urgent and important? Urgent and important is emergencies. Suddenly your heart starts beating, in time to Michael Jackson's tune, and you have to drop your whole life's activities and go to the hospital. So a lot of people, if you don't take care of yourself, then you can end up in emergencies. If you don't take care of your machinery, you can end up in emergencies. You are going to this absolutely critical, life-changing meeting, and your car breaks down because you didn't take care of it. No regular maintenance, and it stalls. Now you are stuck, and your meeting is gone. So, emergencies. Down below you've got neither urgent nor important. Such things, delegate. Get rid of them or delegate. And right corner you've got not urgent but important. Every day going to the gym. Every day exercising. Every day a certain amount of reading. Certain amount of Quran reading. Certain amount of other reading. Every day certain azkar that I need to do. Your daily activity which is of an investment nature. If you neglect those things which are not urgent but important, they escalate into important and urgent. Don't take care of your health long enough, and one day you are calling 911 for the ambulance. Don't take care of your car long enough, and one day it is going to stall in the middle of the highway and you are in trouble. Don't take care of your relationship with your spouse, and one day you are headed for the attorney filing divorce papers. Don't take care of your deen long enough, and one day you will be carried to the masjid to which you never bothered to walk, and then into the grave, answering questions which you need not have answered. So this is where a maximum investment has to go in, which is not urgent but important. Prioritize those. Make sure you're doing something there every single day, which will help you and take away a lot of your time and energy from the emergencies. They won't be there. An emergency is something that practically every emergency is avoidable. Everything, almost. If you prepare for it long enough. Right? So again, look at your life and say, these things, how do I maintain them and how do I manage them? We come to the third one, which is managing monkeys. What are monkeys? Monkeys are like this. You've got a subordinate. You told him, look, no, he comes to you one day. He says, sir, I'm having difficulty with my sales things. And so what shall I do? So you tell him, call so-and-so, go there, meet this person. Then he comes back to you and says, sir, I called him, but his secretary, I can't get past the secretary. So what do? You are a nice guy. You are a good boss. You say, okay, leave it with me. Now, next day he comes to you. He says, sir, did you call the secretary? He says, excuse me, you working for me or I am working for you? Well, you know what? You kept his monkey. So now he's come to ask you, did you feed my monkey? How's my monkey? Is my monkey happy? These are monkeys. So, number one, never take somebody else's monkey. Never say, leave it with me. Right? Never collect monkeys. Return them back to the owner. If you need to deal with something, feed your monkey face to face. Don't send emails. Call the guy and tell him, okay, what happened? This is the call now. Whatever the nature of the thing, let people deal with things which they are responsible for. Never take on somebody's job to say, well, let me do it. No. You cannot do it. You will never be able to do that because you've got your own priorities. And if you try and do that, then your priorities are going to suffer. You are going to be running and trying to do somebody else's work while there is no one to do your work. Now that's a very stupid way of living your life. Right? So remember, the monkey is not yours, but the life is yours. So don't become a zookeeper. Don't become a monkey keeper. Delegate responsibility. Hold people responsible for that. By all means, help them if you can help them. Otherwise, your organization and so on is not a training school. If people cannot pull their weight, then there is a door. Right? Last one, which is so important, which is to develop assertiveness. The ability to say no. The biggest problem with that is our desire to be liked by everyone. Believe me, even the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was not liked by everyone. The best of creation, the most beautiful human being that ever existed in the world was somebody that some people did not like. Some people hated him enough to try to kill him. So who are you? Who am I? Someone doesn't like me, big deal, man. Don't like me. It doesn't matter. There was only one person who was required to like me, and she liked me 36 years ago, and she hasn't changed her mind. I am happy with that. Nobody else. You were not created in this world to become likable. You were created in this world to do the best that you can do. So to be able to assert yourself. Now, differentiate between assertiveness and aggressiveness. Assertiveness is to stand up for your rights without violating the rights of anyone else. Aggressiveness is to run roughshod over other people's rights. So don't try to please everybody. It's not possible. It's not doable. There's a wonderful story. This father and son, they were taking their donkey to the market to sell. So as they were walking along with the donkey, There were some people sitting by the roadside. They said, how stupid are these people? They are walking and they have a donkey. So the father looked at the son looked at the father and said, yeah, they're right. So they both got onto the donkey. Now, as they went some distance, some other people were there. They said, what kind of cruel people are these? Two of them riding this donkey. So the son got off. Now they went some distance more. Some other people there. They said, look at this old man, how bad he is. The poor little kid is walking and this old man is sitting on the donkey. So the father got off, the son got on. They went a little bit further. Somebody said, look at this boy, he has got no respect. His father is walking and he is riding. This is the world. They say in the story that finally they both decided to carry the donkey on the head. Now seriously, this is the world. People are always dissatisfied. It doesn't matter. As long as you are not violating somebody's rights, you have a right to be treated with dignity. You have a right to be respected. You have a right for your property, for your time to be respected. And the best way to get that right is to show the same respect to others. Don't drop into somebody's place. Don't go somewhere without asking for an appointment. If you speak to people, speak respectfully. Greet them. Thank them. Believe me, as long as you are saying thank you, and if you do something wrong, you apologize, you say you're sorry, you can't go wrong. Right? So do that. Make sure that you say thank you and make sure that you say sorry if something went wrong. Things will go wrong. We are human. But an attitude of gratitude. Always smile. Be good to people. Be polite. Be respectful. And you will get all of that in return. And in case you don't get it, have no hesitation whatsoever to say directly and clearly to somebody, excuse me, I do not like your way of talking to me. Please don't talk to me like this. You are joking? I'm sorry, that's not a joke. It is offensive and I do not accept it. Right? Be very clear. There's nothing to be apologetic about where it is necessary, about insisting that you should be treated with dignity and respect, no matter who it is. No matter who it is. Even if it is the king of the world, that king of the world has no business treating you without dignity. Right? It's up to you. If you take it, people will give it. And you know what I'm talking about, right? If you take it, people will give it. Sayyidina Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu's principle. He said, I do not wrong anybody and I do not allow anyone to wrong me. As simple as that. Stick with that, inshallah, you will be fine. So, very quickly, in the end, it is not about time, it is about life. Because time is life. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself said this. Time is life. So let us try to see if we can practice these. And once again, like for all of our sessions, make the table. What will I start doing? What will I stop doing? What will I continue to do? Jazakallah, thank you very much for coming and listening. And I hope it is very beneficial for you. Thank you.